Peace and blessings, collective. Welcome in, welcome in. Welcome to the 7-7 portal. If you're seeing this the day I'm recording it, because I do also post my lives to YouTube. Um, but yeah, today it's a very auspicious, I want to say beginning, but it feels like this energy has been beginning for quite some time. And I'm finding it, okay, I was going to say, finding it very interesting that this is not lighting. All right, now, here we go. I do feel like there are some very potent energies that desire to come through. Um, mm. And I actually have a split sitting in front of me that I shuffled probably well over 12 hours ago. And because I knew that I intended to get on live at some point leading into the 7-7 portal, but I think my human, I'm not even gonna say I think, when I use the word I think, that's how I know that my human was getting in the way, like my ego consciousness, because I know that there's a message to be delivered. But I also, if you were on my last live, I announced that I am launching my personal brand today. And there actually was like human hiccups, but now operating fully from a fifth dimensional perspective where there is nothing wrong. There's so much more ease and flow, and there's no, like, I feel no negative emotion around the fact that it's not going to be exactly what I thought it was going to be, because I have been building I would like to call it a beautiful website. But I waited until last night to actually move my domain over from my previous website, and domain transfers take 7 to 10 days, supposedly, according to what it said when I was transferring the domain. So the official launch of the site is postponed, but I have updated my Stand Store link, which is in my bio, as far as like putting words to what I offer, which is not the simplest task, especially from a fifth dimensional perspective, which is why when you go and look at the services that I offer, a lot of them are going to, they're very specifically intended to activate you into your fifth dimensional expression. And I make that abundantly clear, because activation is just like, it's like the 5D way of saying trigger. So like, you're literally asking me to trigger you into an awakening that, and you're never going to receive anything that you're not meant to receive, because I do work so close. Like, I'm working with my higher self and my spirit team to activate you. And my spirit team works with your spirit team and your higher self to make sure that you don't receive anything that is going to harm you. Like, you won't receive anything that you can't handle. The Bible saying that God will never put more on you than you can bear is a fact. Like, you're never going to receive something that you can't handle, but you may receive something that in the moment feels uncomfortable or brings uncomfortable feelings. But it's for you to sit with those feelings and determine, okay, well, what caused them? What thoughts am I thinking? What beliefs do I have that are making me feel these feelings? And now that I've shown the light of my consciousness on them, I can choose to release them, because that in the fifth dimension, in 5D, you do not carry dense emotions. You're able to release them freely, and there is no more karma. Like, you're able to realize that no one is intentionally, and if they are, then but nobody is intentionally trying to hurt you. So if you are being triggered by something, especially when you're having an intentional fifth dimensional experience like I offer, then you know that it's all coming from love, even if you do feel the trigger. And I'm saying that to say, I guess, because it's a disclaimer of the words that I used very intentionally on my Stand Store as far as what my services provide, because I can't get specific. There is no specific, there is no knowing, there is no egoic knowing in the 5D. You will receive exactly what you're meant to receive. And I know that me offering these services is also going to expand me to interacting with higher streams of consciousness that I have yet to connect to. But they are all for the highest and best, and with the purpose of raising the consciousness of Earth. And to get back to the cards that are sitting in front of me from the shuffle that I did earlier today and didn't even, because the message is so clear, because we have change, number 12, and transition, number 43, which is a 3 and 8. Wow, and a 7 energy. I didn't even realize that that was 7 energy, actually, on the 7-7 portal. And 3 and 7 make 10, which would be the end of a cycle, or 1, a new beginning. This is the sacred geometry oracle, and as I've been activated into Merkaba work, and really emphasizing the interconnectedness of all things, like sacred geometry, light, consciousness, like all of the domains they're like layers of the dimensions, essentially, and bringing those things together and being able to use that information to activate and enlighten and to bring ease, because it's meant to be easy. It's literally structured to be easy, but but the structure is personal. Like, you structured your life's path, your human journey, before you incarnated. Like, your soul knows the truth, those inklings, those yearnings, that inexplicable pull to do something when you feel like you're supposed to be, quote unquote, doing something else. That is when you know that that's the thing that's pulling you, is the thing you're supposed to be doing. And in this change and transition, the fact that both of these cards imply that something is changing is because this is a massive paradigm shift from the third and fourth dimension. Like, this is beyond any sort of like evolutionary experience we've had thus far, at least in our lifetime in this timeline. It's physical. It's like every layer of your consciousness, when you anchor it into the fifth dimension, shifts to a point of releasing all lower density vibrations, frequencies, energies. Like your DNA is literally being upgraded in ways that are causing your body to function differently. So if you are noticing that there are things changing about your body, now if you are truly alarmed, seek medical attention. Yes. But if you've built a connection with your higher self, you will know if something is actually wrong, or and wrong is subjective, because whatever it is, it's a signal that there is something that your body needs from you, and it might just be for you to sit your ass down. Because in the 5D, ease and rest are priorities. Like, it's shifting away from feeling like you have to work, and that the work that you do is supposed to be the thing that brings you joy. But with change here, it says the frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and birth of the new. It's literally a constant release and rebirth. Allow yourself to be new in every new now moment. And then with transition, it says the frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. This energetically is I can feel I feel like there's air moving, energy. The burp won't come out, but I feel it. It is literally it's stuck like right in the higher heart chakra. And that I actually was channeling that energy earlier, that it's the higher heart chakra that is opening. Like we are heart centered, and the higher heart being between the heart and the throat. It's this channel is clearing for us to be able to express. The throat chakra is not simply speaking, it is creating what does not yet exist, and trusting that you're meant to. If there is something that comes to you that makes, and I won't even say makes sense, but it resonates through your entire body, or maybe a specific body part, because that's the thing. Your body is your antenna. So you are receiving messages throughout your body. In the 5D, we are feeling before we are thinking. You go with the feeling that you have before the thought. The thoughts are still going to be there, but do not allow the thoughts to negate the thing that you felt, because the thing that you felt was real. The thing that you saw, if you see something that resonates but is beyond what you typically can comprehend, beyond what you are used to seeing in your three-dimensional reality, that does not make it any less real. It just means that you're shifting dimensions. It's a literal shift in dimension, seeing things that are vibrationally higher, or like that are a vibrational match for the frequency that you are vibrating at, but not necessarily for anyone else. Like, you are going to see things that other people can't see because of your vibration. It's like you're literally passing through the veil, because it's the literal nature of the English language at the very least is so literal when spoken and when carried unconsciously, because words are spells. So every time anything you put after I am is what you are casting out into the universe as your truth, and you are able to rewire that truth at will. You are able to choose a new truth for yourself at will, which is then adjusting, shifting, changing your timeline. That's the timeline shift, is simply choosing to operate from a different perspective or from a different paradigm. I'm going to read the book on these two cards, because they're like the change is, it has to be voluntary. It is definitely voluntary in order for it to be smooth. If you like the resistance, which is literally one of the, it's not on my site yet, but by the time, if you end up seeing this replay on YouTube, it will be at the link in the description, but I'm adding it to the link in bio, to my Stan store. But I've created a release resistance workbook, which is literally like the first step to opening yourself to this inevitable ascension, if you desire to be a part of it. Like, if it resonates for you that you are meant to live a life of peace and ease, where thinking is not a necessity, then it's time to release the resistance that the thinking mind is creating. And this workbook is just intended to give you like the first seeds, or whatever the seed is that it activates within you, to investigate where the resistance lies, because it's meant to trigger you to feel the resistance, to activate you to witness the resistance, so that you can make a new choice. Because you are choosing to resist, but you may not, like, if this is not a level of consciousness you're used to resting at, where you can observe that every single human aspect of you is a choice, then it might be new information for you to recollect, I said recollect, which, yeah, remembering, because you're remembering your truth, for you to grasp that even the most minor amount of resistance is a choice. Like, we get to choose to be completely free if we so choose. And actually now, okay, getting the resonance from my higher self that it's time for me to share my personal fifth dimensional transition story. And the fact it's still unfolding. It's like I'm still like this is you're catching me on the ground floor right now of the fifth dimension. But I left corporate America. To some, it may have seemed abruptly. Mid-June of this year, so basically 3 weeks ago. Yeah, about 3.5 weeks ago. And I knew, like I said, I'm launching my personal brand. Like I had that within me, but there still was very little certainty. Like the only certainty I knew was that I meant to work with others in an energetic fashion. Like the initial words that I had around it were quantum healing, and it literally has left my mind because that was just the stepping stone. Like that was the first step. It's like, okay, yes, quantum healing, but now let's get more specific. And the specifics are that I am here to be a fifth dimensional spiritual coach, but in this, it's not. I mean, it is coaching from a three-dimensional perspective, but it's activation. Like I am activating you to a point where you will be able to carry on your own. Like the services that I offer, it's my wholehearted intention that you only ever have to talk to me once and you're off to the races. But I'm offering my services on a more consistent basis if you're not at a place where you can take it and run with it. But I know that there are some people that are so ready to be activated into the fifth dimension that all it takes is for the right activation phrase for them to snap out of it. And that's what I'm here to provide. And I'm feeling so much resonance as I'm saying this because this is the first time I'm being able to put these words to it. Like I said, this is still the beginning. And there are words associated with it on the website. But as far as the activation, it's channeled in the moment. Like once the mixture of our energies, the interaction of my fifth dimensional frequency with your openness to fifth dimensional frequencies is what is going to create the activation. So that's why it's hard to put words to it because every service is going to be completely different. Every session we have will be entirely different. It could just be us having a 5D conversation about what you desire in your reality while I support your intention and see the vision with you to create the timeline. Like that's literally a service that I can offer you. But how do you put words to that when that's not something that's ever, I'm not even going to say it doesn't exist because there might be other spiritual practitioners who do the same thing, but I don't know of them and I've never put words to it like this before. But there's a level of excitement and a level of readiness that my soul, while I was still in my corporate career just 3 weeks ago, so really this experience would have been maybe 2 months ago, I literally was in the office and I was there and my energy has always been high vibrational. Like the way that people have responded to me has always been, wow, you're such a light. You make like basically the sentiments of you make me feel like just period. Like I feel lighter. I feel better that you gave me clarity. Like that is the tone of the conversations I've always had in the academic space, in the workplace, and in family dynamics even. Like that's the energy that I've always carried. And I've always known that there had to be something about me that set me apart in some way, but there was no, like, it was not out of like grandiose brag. Like I didn't even know, because I didn't know how to talk about it because people would talk about it to me. Like I would be told these things and it's like, well, it has to be true if everybody's saying it to me, but I have no idea why. And now I'm understanding and being illuminated as to why that is. I am a fifth dimensional way shower. I have been existing at the top end of the fourth dimension and the low end of the fifth dimension basically my entire life. And now that I have fully anchored myself in the fifth dimension by exiting the matrix, leaving corporate behind and pursuing the path of my highest excitement, I am being revealed more and more as I continue to take steps forward, because that's what it is in the 5D. You're walking into the abundant unknown and without fear, because there is nothing to fear, because you know you are divinely protected and all is well, and you are fully supported in your ascension, and your path upward is clear. And you have everything you need the moment you need it. Literally, that is. So as I'm saying that, like, that's giving me more resonance, because I did set up behind me the other branch of, so my brand is the Limitless Collective. I welcome you all to join me in the collective once the site is fully activated. I do have memberships on my TikTok as well. I do not have membership content yet, but it's coming. Or subscription content. I think that's the verbiage TikTok uses. But Limitless Apothecary is a branch of the Limitless Collective, which is essentially aromatherapy and intention anointing oils. I have the full size bottles back here, which are actually my personal bottles, the ones that I have been using. I have been using this oil, like this oil blend, or for, I think it's close to a year at this point, if not longer. I'm really trying to remember, when was the first time I created an intentional oil blend for myself, because the first one I created was Limitless Protection, and each oil has an affirmation. So I actually have my stock available. Like, that's what I've been working on, and it didn't feel like work, but I am divinely protected and all is well. And then Limitless Abundance, which is I have everything I need the moment I need it. And then we do have the Limitless Clear Channel, which has the affirmation, I am fully supported in my ascension. My path upward is clear. The intention, this spray, it's an aromatherapy mist, and it's like a proprietary blend of essential oils that open you. It's meant to give you a brief, quick way to snap back essentially into the fifth dimension. It's like you take the time. The way that I enjoy using it is fully intentional, because these are all intention supporting products. Mist it in front of you and step forward with the intention of moving forward in your fifth dimensional expression, while expressing the affirmation, I am fully supported in my ascension, my path upward is clear. And that's the signal. And you can invoke your guides, your spirit team, angels, ancestors, ascended masters, whatever it is. You can customize the ritual for yourself, but I'm giving you if you don't know if you're doing it right, quote unquote, because there is no right. However resonates for you is the right way to do it. But if there is a way that resonates more deeply for you, but you would still like the physical reminder to do the thing, because having the bottle sitting on your dresser or in your purse or on your countertop or whatever is a three-dimensional cue to remind you that you're existing beyond the third dimension. You know, it like literally I'm providing you a cue, a physical cue to step forward in your fifth dimensional expression. And then with the anointing oils, I use these I anoint my chakras. One of my favorite places to anoint is like the base of the skull, which I know there's like a gland back there. Is that the thymus gland? Maybe. I don't quote me. But I know that is a very sensitive area as far as like energy transfer. Like if that's like when you're open, that's where energies can flow through, and anointing yourself with the protection oil in that area, or even the abundance oil, it's like putting up a screen door. Like you get to screen very intentionally what energies are allowed to flow through you. And I always set the intention that whatever energy is of the highest and best intention for anchoring fifth dimensional frequencies is welcome. Yeah, because there's higher consciousness that desires to stream through your vessel. Like your antenna is receiving more than just you. Like you have soul contracts with not just people, but energies, like non-corporeal beings who also desire to see your mission fulfilled. Because it's like basically having like angel investors, you know that word? Like, and this is a download I'm having right now. You have literal angel investors. Okay. Like that's the energy. That's the vibe. Is there are beings that you can't see that want to flow abundance to and through you just so that you can be equipped to fulfill your mission without fear or doubt, because those do not exist in the fifth dimension. Okay, so now we're going to read change. The frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. Change is the only constant we can count on. Like the seasons, everything comes and goes in cycles. The ebb and flow, the day and night, the death and rebirth, good times are followed by challenging times, followed by weird times, followed by ecstatic times. Nothing stays the same for long. Life itself demands movement and change to perpetuate itself. Change is represented by the turning of a circle or a wheel, showing us the forever changing nature of everything in the universe. In fact, the very concept of the universe is changing, and we are slowly accepting that a multiverse might be a more appropriate description. How we handle this constant change depends on where the center of our awareness lies. When we are deeply rooted in our own core, in our heart, at the center of the circle, the movement of change affects us less than when we are focused on the outward parts of ourselves, the outer parts of the circle. As on a spinning wheel, the closer we are to the center and the steadier everything is. The transparent red square that partially covers the wheel is our perception and our form-based physical world, which appears to be solid but is really only another layer of reality. The light on the corners reminds us our ability to reach beyond the illusionary three-dimensional boundaries of any time at any time we choose. From the center, 5 beautiful flowers emerge, slowly flowing outward. Or is it the other way around? Are the flowers emerging from the edges of our awareness into our center? In numerology, the number 5 is associated with change. That's interesting because, okay. Yeah, because I felt 5 energy, even though this is card number 12, which would be 3. And 5 is dragon energy, which is a fifth dimensional energy. Dragons arrive to you in the fifth dimension. So if you are feeling dragon synchronicities or feel called to dragons, like that is a sign of your frequency increasing, like you're shifting dimensions. Also ringing in the ears, like toning, like your channels being tuned to higher frequencies, and that's why you're getting the like ringing or radio static. In numerology, the number 5 is associated with change, and these flowers represent the beautiful potential for new life and possibilities to grow from each new moment, even in the midst of seemingly chaotic change. And then it says, try this. Take a moment to go inside yourself and look at your life. Do you move easily with change, or do you resist it? How have you changed since last year? How about since yesterday? What exciting new experiences have these changes brought you? What are you excited about changing next? I really like this exercise because it's very close to what the Release Resistance workbook, which is going to be, at this time when I put it up, it's going to be free, but it's so potent that when I create a freer thing, like a less activating, I won't even say less activating because it's going to be equally as activating, but I guess less involved, because this is like, you have to be interested in investing in releasing resistance truly for this to be of benefit to you. But in the same way that this exercise is only of benefit to you if you answer the questions truthfully. But because releasing requires honesty with yourself and being able to face your shadows without judgment, because that's one of the things when you're transitioning into the 5D is realizing that you've always been able to operate this way, but you simply were not choosing to do so, which for your human, for your ego, feels like a blow. It's like, how come I didn't know that? Why didn't I realize it was this easy? But you don't need to dwell on that. Like, you're here now. It took everything that happened before to get you here now. If those things had not happened, you still would not be at this point. And you are now at this point, which is the only now that you have, which means it's always been and it always will be this or better. It's always this or better. When it was that, it got better, and now it's this. And when this or better. Okay, so let's read transition number 43. This is not the, okay. Because I'm like, this is not the last card, is it? But I think it might be the second to last. Yeah, this is the second to last card in the deck. Wow. That's when because a lot of times I will receive the last card in the deck as a symbol of like a cycle being completely closed. But because this is the transition, like there are still like so many of us are oscillating between dimensions, really not even realizing it, because it's so easy to get swept into the different layers of the fourth dimension. Because once you hit the halfway point of the fourth dimension, it's like a whirlwind that just pulls you straight up into the fifth if you're able to catch and ride the wave up. But it can feel chaotic because you have to trust that that's where you're headed, even though it looks like you're losing your mind and quitting your job without a backup. But that's not the case. Like, I mean, in some ways you're not losing your mind, but you're detaching from it because it's not the truth. It doesn't have to be if you don't choose for it to be. Like, everybody has an opinion, everybody has thoughts, and they're all different, and they all resonate as true for them where they are now. So that means that the truth evolves. The truth is subjective. The truth is what you believe to be true in your reality. Therefore, period, because you are the center of your reality. You are the only perceiver, receiver, conceiver of your reality. So anything that you impose on it is going to be true for you, but that does not make it true for me. I know I'm a fifth dimensional being. Like, I know that I am a new human living in the new earth. If you don't know that for you, that does not change it for me. Okay, 43, transition. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transition to occur with ease and grace. Transition can be described as the passage from one stage to another. However deeply or mildly it impacts our lives, transition always implies change of some sort, and most of us are afraid of change. We want things to stay the same. We want to stay in the comfort zone we've created. Unfortunately, change is one certainty in life that we can all count on. Change is necessary to allow room for the new to emerge and the old to pass. Change is necessary for growth to occur. Change is a fundamental universal law. Transition describes this process of change, a time when things are moving, morphing, and shifting. And in the midst of this process, it's common for nothing to feel clear, comfortable, or safe. Being pushed and pulled from one existing state into one being pushed and pulled from our existing state into one that is unfamiliar isn't easy. And the most feared transition of all time is one we all face eventually. Death. Literally just sitting next to me. Where'd it go? That we will all face eventually. Death. The transition from physical bodies to the world of spirit. Because we have so little understanding of the true nature of our existence and of our connection to the cosmos, we tend to fear death as a perceived ending. As in this activation, the snake is a traditional symbol for death, the transition in many cultures and belief systems, due to its perceived ability to be reborn many times during its lifetime by shedding its skin. Behind it, the background shows not only the grid of the flower of life, the connection with the earth plane, but also the Merkaba, a reference to our existential ability to traverse between layers of time and dimension. The colors indigo, violet, and magenta are indications of our deep spiritual connection to the cosmos and the whole of existence, making any transition but a moment in an ongoing infinite journey. Try this. Take a moment to look at the transition image. Do you flow with, I'm going to, take a screenshot if you feel so inclined. Take a moment to look at the transition image. How do you flow with the transition in your life? What transitions are you afraid of? Look at the last transition that you went through and remember the gifts that came because of it. What will your next transition be? Go outside and see how nature goes through a constant cycle of death and rebirth in order to continue life. Celebrate your transitions. That last line is bringing me back to even the transition from the transition out of the matrix, essentially, from the fourth dimension to anchoring firmly in the fifth dimension. Is when I left my job, I didn't even recognize that that was something to celebrate, but the people around me did. Like, everybody was like, oh, it's time to celebrate. But my human is like, why are we celebrating you leaving the only stability we've ever known? And like that right there, as soon as you say like that's the only thing you've ever known, you're about to know something new. And that newness is going to be rejuvenating. It's going to, when you set the intention for it to be like, okay, I feel called to this thing. It resonates as true for me. It's almost unbearable, which honestly, yeah, unbearable for me to stay in this current situation. There has to be more for me if I'm feeling this way. And that's the truth. There is more for you. There is beyond your wildest dreams available to you as soon as you open up and allow yourself to follow your highest excitement without judgment or fear of it not working out, quote unquote. Because in the fifth dimension, it all works out. Like, it's literally the energy of heaven on earth. The fifth dimension is heaven on earth in a way that the human mind is unable to perceive, because the humans for millennia have been trying to figure out what happens after death, and they've decided that it is heaven, but they have not been able to perceive truly what that means because they have not anchored the energy into the three-dimensional reality, because it's all like the transition card said, it's not the ending, it's a transition into a new way of being. But if you can make that transition without leaving your vessel, then you get to have heaven on earth. If you're in a paradigm where you know you can make that transition without leaving your vessel. Because there are some paradigms, some belief systems that are going to anchor your heaven experience outside of your vessel, because that's your belief system. But if you change your belief system, you can bring your heaven to you here. That was a channel that just came through on its own. I want to shuffle this deck one more time to get an actual pull, like a live pull, because those two cards were from a split that I did before I got on live, that I just left sitting here because I knew how potent it was, and here we are. All right, we have bottom of the deck with Synergy. The frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations of unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. This visual activation along with those words is lighting me up in a way that is beyond words. Like, I can't even describe it, because that's the thing. You have to trust that it's there. And that's number 41. And that, okay, I'm going to actually shuffle, but we have remembrance here as well. Like, we are remembering, and I'm just going to read this one. The frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul in body, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. As a soul in body. Yeah, because the way this is worded, like, it leaves it open to what your consciousness is able to receive. But what I just received from it's not just this, clearly not. It's just not this incarnation, this time that your soul is in a body. It's every time your soul has ever been in a body, and every time your soul enters a body, it starts mental, like thought wise, remembrance wise. It starts from scratch. You start with amnesia, and then you work your way to remembrance, and that is where we are now. I'm just gonna say it because it's coming through, and this remembrance of who you are as a soul is leading to longevity. If you are hearing the sound of my voice right now, you have many years to walk this earth, and it's going to be it's going to be you're a living legend. Like, you're going to live the legendary story. Trust that. If that resonates for you, trust that. Connect with your higher self on that. Ask your higher, what is it that I am, what is it that I need to see in this moment? What do I need to know in this moment? And start there and receive what comes in. This is the last card in the deck. Like I said, 44, universal love. We have, timelines have been closed. Like, I don't have my glasses on, so I can't even see how many people are in the live right now. I do see hearts, so I know there's somebody here. But a cycle has been closed. A timeline has been coalesced, has ended, has shifted. 20, discernment. The frequency of discernment supports our ability to view the world and the people around us from a place of inner balance and detachment, yet with compassion and wisdom. The fifth dimension. 44, universal love. The frequency of universal love activates the connection we feel to each other, to our planet, and to the whole of existence itself. Okay, I'm going to read both of them, 41 and 44, and discernment was number 20. Synergy. The frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. The origin of the word synergy comes from working together, and it can be described as the result of something that is greater than the simple sum of its individual parts. It's the energy we can expect. It's in the new energy we can expect synergy to not only refer to the process with an outcome, throat chakra. This is, we're working through expressing clearly something. You know what? I'm not even going to give it the acknowledgement that it desires, because there are powers that would love to see us held back, but they know they are nullified. Um, in the new energy, we can expect synergy to not only refer to a process with an outcome that is greater, but to one that involves uniting elements, energies, and even undefined attributes to create something that is completely new, different, and unexpected. This brings a wondrous element of magic to the whole process. In this activation, synergy is represented through the uncommon and rather bold choice of color combinations. By itself, pink represents the divine feminine attribute the divine feminine attributes of love, nurturing, stillness, and receptivity. And the bright yellow green color represents the new energy through clarity, beauty, and exhilaration. Purple brings in consciousness and insight, while the opening at the top represents the channel that allows input from a higher place. This communication is taken in, brought to the core, surrounded by loving pink and light, and transcended for release onto the earth plane in an appropriate energy that is in alignment with the consciousness there. The effects of this release a ripple through the emotional planes, the water, the mental plane, the blue, and can even affect us on the DNA level, the coding in the background. And I literally expressed DNA upgrades. Try this. Take a moment to go inside yourself and think about a situation when seemingly very different people came together and worked toward a wonderful result. Now think about a personal goal of yours. Who can you bring together to help you accomplish your goal? What about a global goal? Can you think about it and do the same? Synergy. That's honestly, that feels like a synchronistic alignment for a word that puts together what I was trying to convey about the services that I offer. They are synergistic, fifth dimensional interactions. And because the synergy is going to be different with different energies, it's really hard. I want to say really hard, but basically unnecessary to put words to it, because it's going to be different for everybody. But beneficial nonetheless, as that is my chief intent, for every encounter to be salubrious. I love that word. To healthy or health giving, salubrious. 44, universal love. The frequency of universal love activates the connection we feel to each other, to our planet, and the whole of creation itself. Love is probably the most sought after, mysterious, indeterminate, and fulfilling feeling that a human can experience. Its mystery surely derives from the fact that we cannot really describe or define what it is. Is it energy? Is it an emotion? Perhaps it is simply the glue that binds everything together. Whatever it is, we know without a doubt when we feel loved and when we love. As vibrational beings, we hold a frequency that aligns with the frequency of our thoughts and our emotions. And from that vibrational point of attention, we attract everything else into our reality. Love is one of the highest frequencies. When we are in a state of love, we easily attract circumstances and people into our reality that are aligned with that frequency. Human beings are capable of feeling deep compassion and love, not just for one another, but for all life in general. How do you describe what a parent feels towards their child, or how friends feel toward each other, or the love between siblings, among family members, for pets, or even the way we feel about our planet and its inhabitants? Love is a powerful force that drives our actions, motivates our behaviors, and can change the course of our lives. And perhaps the very reason that we are capable of such deep feelings is that nothing fuels our desire for change and evolution more than the love that we are able to feel. When we remember that everyone and everything is connected to the same source, we can overcome any perceived differences and join our power toward a more conscious reality, one based in love. The deep blue background represents the universe, the space in which all exists. Flowers have been traditionally used to express love, affection, admiration, and intention. The flower of life represents the grid on which our three-dimensional world is based. Red represents the physical plane and the passion we feel when we love. The flower in the middle refers to the thousand-petaled lotus, a symbol for the crown chakra and our connection to source. The universal knowledge, the color green indicates an open heart that is capable of love and compassion. Try this. Close your eyes and breathe. Can you feel your connection to source? Walk outside and try to feel that connection to the plants and trees around you. Everything on this planet is made of the same universal loving energy. Can you feel that universal love when you pet an animal, hug a tree, or play with a child? Try it today. That is literally an exercise to tune your antenna. Like, because you set the intention to feel the thing, expect to feel what you intended to feel without attachment to the outcome of having the experience. Simply have the experience to have the experience. That's literally why your soul is here. Like, your soul incarnated into this body at this time simply to experience, to feel, because feeling is something that can only be experienced in dimensions of separation, of perceived separation, because feeling implies something outside of yourself or something separate from yourself to interact with. So if your soul is not embodied, and go all the way back to all the layers deep to just being source consciousness, there is no thought. There is no individuation. Therefore, there is nothing to feel except oneness and wholeness, which is essentially just ecstasy and bliss. But that's, what's coming through. That's the, okay, so much resonance. That is the state that we're meant to reach in the human body, because to feel that level of ecstasy and bliss fully embodied is heaven on earth. Yeah. We're in the 5D here. Some of us may still be oscillating, but that's what I'm here to anchor you firmly in the 5th dimension. If you feel called to work with me personally, the link to do so is in my link in bio, or if you're watching the replay of this live on YouTube, it's in the description. But I think I'm going to love and leave y'all right here. I'm wishing you an abundant ascension, and I'll catch y'all in the next live. Love y'all. Peace.